Hi, this is back to basics part 2 of putting. It's important you get it fitted for a putter that suits your eyeline. Why? Well, very simply put, for you to see a straight put or even line up a put, your eyeline has to be correct. I'm going to show you through this how to get fitted correctly for a putter that suits you, for length, lie angle, and that suits your natural path. Now, I'm William Noble. I'm the PGA professional at St. Anne's Golf Club, and you're welcome to this session on being fitted to actually help your basic fundamentals of repeating your setup. Now, this is why it's important to get fitted. So the first thing I'm going to do is, how do I find the right posture for my height? And that also will actually give me, to a certain degree, the right distance from the ball. From there, I'm going to just do a little bit of work on the eyeline, which was really the introduction of this. So to get the right posture, one or two ways of doing this. This is the one way. I should slide your fingers down to your knees, which creates that flat top which we want for putting, because that eliminates the rest of the body. And then you just let your arms just literally hang from your shoulders. Now, where my arms hang is really the distance I want, the length I want that putter. So once I get that posture, I just slide down again, and I'm using a slightly weighted medicine ball, and then that gives me the perfect arm hang, which is about there. Now I'll just get rid of that. So for me, that's just above my knee. To my height, I already know what I am, so I just get my knees there, let my arms hang out, pick the putter up into my hands, get my grip. Now I'm using the full length of the putter, and the putter is totally flat on the ground. Now that's important. But what you're going to notice here is what I'm going to do is where the ball, I'm going to drop it from my head and where it relates to the putter head. And then we're going to show you the next bit that you've got to do. So I'll use this ball here. So I get my setup like so, hang out. That's the felt with the ball, full length of the putter, which is 32.75 inches long. That's so not necessarily true. I'm going to put out the bridge of my nose, let it drop just inside the putter head. That's where my eye line should. We draw a line on all these balls. I've got about 6 of them, and I spread them out even distance apart in the direction I want to hit my putt. And they're all dead straight now, I can see that. But have you often found when you've read the putt from behind, you've lined up with your lines if you use a line on the ball? I don't, but for this purpose we're going to do it here. And then when you get over the ball, it doesn't look like it's lined up right. Now this is to do with your eye line. Length of your putter, lie angle, will determine where your eye line should be to see straight putts. So every one of these balls I have here in front of me is dead straight. It hangs down just inside there. Now when I look down at all these balls going down towards the hole, they all look dead straight to me. Now you say, well, what's new with that? Well, this is something I learned over time. When I used to try and get my eyes over the ball, for me, when I walked in closer to get my eyes in over the ball, those lines now look like are going left, and I would feel like I'm going to pull it. So that puts me in a very negative state. And then if I go back too far, then everything looks like it's going right. So your eye line is so important for you to square up at address and to make it easy for you to see a straight put. And that varies from person to person. Somebody might be over the ball, others might be further away, like Justin Leonard. He was a lot further away. Now the length and height away from the ball will now dictate also what type of putter will suit you, what to suit your arc, and I'll talk about that in a second. So I now know that I'm 32.75 inches in length. That's the length I want, and by pushing me back just that tiny bit, I know the putter is now sitting 1 degree flat, like that. So it sits flat on the ground, and I can see a straight putt every time. So I'm going to hit that ball after that ball after that ball every time. And that's so important. So your eye line for me is ultimately everything. Posture, yes, is a big part of that, which we talked about in the previous drills. But the lie angle is dictated by the distance away from the ball that you are, and the length of the putter is also to a certain degree dictated by your eye line, because I want to keep using the full length of the putter. to make me very, very consistent with my setup every time. I don't want to be going up and down it all the time, standing in and out. Because I know if I use the full end of that putter, it sits flat on the ground, and my balance is flat on my feet. And every so often I might do a test and drop the ball down. I know that I'm the right distance away from the ball. Now, this affects the arc of your stroke or the path. So this is something I've drawn up. So these are your three basic arcs. We call this a straight putt. Nobody takes it dead straight. So this is a straight arc, which is very close to being dead straight, but everybody has a slight wiper effect on their stroke. We have a slight arc, which is your in between, which is your answer type putters, and I'll show you what they are. And then we have what we call a strong arc, which is quite a big movement left to right. Tiger would do quite a lot of this. And then you'll have variations in between that as well. So that's why I have a few different putters. Now, I'll show you that. So a slight arc type of stroke is something I'll show you now. I'll just put this down here. Oh, that's the dog. Would be just a slight shape there like that. So slight arc, which is your straight back, straight through that people talk about, but there is a slight wiper type movement, is a face used as a face balance putter or a mallet you often hear about. But you'd often see with a face balance putter there's a slight bend in the shaft. So that would suit somebody who's a little bit closer, more over the ball, which means if you're a little bit closer, then your path won't be massively in to square to win. It definitely doesn't go straight back, straight through. There's no such thing because of the way we set up to it. Then we have the other one, your traditional answer type putter, which is, where's my putter gone? There it is, which is what we call your 50-50 putter, where the putter toe sits down. See the way that sits down? So that's going to be halfway between face balance and toe balance. So the toe of the putter's more downwards, where the other one was face balance. Now that means then the arc becomes a little bit more rounded, like so. So this putter is now designed to work with that shape and makes it easier for me to square it up rather than having to develop a stroke to suit that. So I naturally will create that motion back and through. I won't have to think about it. The length of the putter, my distance from the ball, and the natural balance of the putter are going to help to create that movement to get it back square and develop a nice feel to my stroke rather than me trying to develop that stroke. Then this is a type of balance we don't really see much nowadays, which is, here's a really old thing, where it's just toe balance with the toes way down. You'd normally see that with somebody who's quite handsy in the putter. So that creates quite a lot of movement left to right and massively arced. So I'll do it that way. You can see, I'm going to exaggerate a bit more so you can see it there on the screen. So that normally happens when you're much further away and your eyes are a lot more inside the ball and you are quite handsy. So you create that motion there. So you're creating that movement back and through. Very little sort of rocking of the shoulders. So that's why the eye line is important. The further you are away from the ball, the more you'll create an arc. So you will. And the taller you are, because it'll make the putter longer, which this is a 35-inch, which is an old style putter. You would have been standing further up, further away, which would create a lot of movement with the hands. And there's certain people that use these types of putters. And they're not as consistent, but if you use it all the time and it's something you've always done, then obviously you're going to be consistent. There is variations in between that as well. So there are your three main things to start with. Get your posture right. Then get your eye line right by using the balls, how you see a straight putt, and that allows you to square it up as well with the club face. And then that dictates the distance you are away, which determines the type of path you have on your stroke, which is a slight arc, which is very little in square to in. More pronounced one, which is your sort of slight arc, like your answer putter, sort of what I call a 50-50 putter. And then strong arc, which is more of a blade type putter. So they're really, really important. The only other thing then you got to watch out for is, depending on how you see things with regard to where your hands set, is we have putters that are slightly more offset. So if you're somebody who, there's a center shaft to putter, if you're somebody who doesn't have their hands sitting more in line with the ball, and you like to put the putter more back behind, which actually adds loft and affects alignment a bit, you're better off with a putter that's slightly more offset, because what it does, it naturally sets your hands slightly forward at address, which enables you to deliver the right amount of loft on the putter. And that's another important factor of putters, getting the correct amount of loft, get the perfect roll, which allows you to get the perfect start line where the ball starts, not necessarily where it finishes, and also gives you the perfect roll to a certain degree, so it doesn't bobble all the time or have the wrong pace on it. And then you have slight variations of that bend in the shaft there, where you got a slight bend, where if you're somebody who might be massively forward, that would allow you to bring your hands back a tiny bit, but not so much in the middle like a center shaft putter. So that's very personalized. That's when I watch somebody, I'm watching how the ball releases, the direction it releases, because I've got drills that I use a starting line for that as well. So I'll show you one of those now in a second. Okay, so I hope you've all got a good idea of that so far. The average, if you really want to know, the average lie angle on most putters is 71 degrees, and the average loft is about 2 degrees, which is for really fast greens. This is really feeding off tour. The old ping answer putters, which would have been about 4 degrees. So it's important that you get the right amount of loft to get the perfect roll on it. So if you're on slightly slower greens, you want more loft, or how you hit it determines that as well. It's not necessarily the same for everybody. And you're used to playing on ultra fast greens, less loft, maybe 2 degrees, which you get with a few companies as well. And I've even fitted people to 0 degree loft because they add loft at impact. So if you can work with somebody's stroke, that's something you can do as well. So it's really important that you get a putter that is the right length to suit your stroke overall. So the starting line, that's my line I want to hit my putt on. Good drill for you, if you put it about the length of your putter in front of you, is, where's my putter? There it is, like that. I get my right distance away from the ball. I'm actually going to put on this line here so you can see it. So I put my putter behind it, I'm square, I know I'm the right distance away. And then if I'm aimed correctly and my ball position is correct, I'll hit that ball every time. So that's my start line. Now I know I've aimed right, I'm the right distance away, because my putter, my path's consistent, so I'm going to hit it the same way every time. So that's really, really important to get a start line. That's a little drill you can do, or you can put a kind on the ground, which another professional showed me once before, with a penny on the ground. So I hit it over that every time, so it improves your start line. Because if you're aimed incorrectly, or your ball position is wrong, it can change your path. And that's another reason to be very, very aware that you have the right length, lie angle of putter to suit your eye line, because that also can affect where the ball is at impact. So most ball positions will be from center feeding forward to your front foot, depending on how you see the ball and how you square it up. I'm traditionally slightly left of center, and some days that varies. So I know I'm set up perfectly every time because my putter is completely made right for me. So the only thing that will vary in my stroke from time to time is the ball position could be too far forward, too far back. So if it's too far back, the putter comes in slightly open. If it's too far forward, the putter comes into the ball slightly left. So that's part of my warm-up routine. And then outside of that, in regard to getting your putter fitted, it's all about feel then. I prefer a harder feel, so I got no insert in my putter, it's just pure metal, and I find that develops a better roll for me. Or you can have ultra soft inserts, a bit like what Lee Westwood uses, which the ball comes off much softer. Sometimes somebody likes to be more aggressive, so they like to have that softer feel, or the ball coming off a little bit slower. If I'm on ultra fast greens, I will use this putter here, my Odyssey putter, which has a slightly softer insert. So if it's really fast greens, and a little bit less loft, but the balance on both of these putters are the same. The length is completely the same with both putters as well. It just depends which greens I'm playing on, which one I'll use, but 90% of the time it's this one because I play it on my home course. Okay, so I hope this helps.